So, full time in Berlin, and it finished with a final score of Union Berlin 3, Borussia Dortmund 1, a huge result in the history of Union Berlin. I think they were fully deserved of their victory. They put in a superb performance, and I think for Dortmund it was just a massively underwhelming day. Underperformed, didn't look good defensively, and there's certainly things they need to address from that. But I think they'll go again. They'll pick themselves up, and they'll hopefully improve for next week because it's going to be tough. A defeat of that nature, and it was never going to be an easy game. Coming to Berlin, coming to play against that atmosphere. When you travel to Union Berlin, it's never going to be easy. But again, all credit to Union. I think they turned up and they played really kind of a brilliant game plan. I think they stuck to what they're good at. They put Dortmund under pressure with really good set pieces, and they hit them on counter. And they had a great game plan. They executed it. I think they've been watching Dortmund in their weaker areas in the opening games. And again, for Dortmund, the issue of set pieces crops up after last season and the struggles they had with it at times. And defensively, a couple of things from last season reared their head again that will worry Favre. And I think too that there's a couple more issues from the Dortmund side. I think you have to look at the absence of Witsel. I think was a big loss today. Both offensively and defensively. Particularly on the defensive end, they just seem to kind of lack someone to take that ball out of transition and to really kind of link the defence to the attack and keep the ball keep it turning over and keep possession turning over and just to kind of play a key role in linking the midfield to the attack as well. We saw against Augsburg the role he played in getting the game changes on the ball, the likes of Royce, the likes of Sancho, the likes of Brandt and Hazard as well when they were on the pitch. And I think, and it was a big loss today. I think to not have him there, to not have his presence. They also lost Delaney for the second half, who we believe went off with a head injury or a concussion of some kind. So that two of their key midfielders really, particularly kind of in that box-to-box mould or playing sort of both ways. And it just seemed that they couldn't link play enough. They couldn't create enough good chances, particularly at the end. Looking at Dortmund, and the game wasn't lost at 3-1. They had plenty of time to try and claw something back, maybe even a point. But they just seemed to run out of ideas, and they were shooting from range, and it didn't seem fluid. It didn't seem good, and there's clearly a couple of issues that have to be ironed out. But again, they'll be hopeful that they can get Witsel back as soon as possible, get Delaney back as soon as possible, and just go again. But I think from a Dortmund perspective, the worrying elements are perhaps an over-reliance on Jadon Sancho. He got the assist today, and a great assist it was. For Alcacer, who had a simple finish. But again, they can't over-rely on a 19-year-old. As much as he is one of the best players in the league at the moment, and there's no doubt about that. Maybe even in terms of form. You can't rely on someone who is just 19 years of age and is not going to have consistency week in, week out. I don't think it was a bad performance from Sancho, but it certainly, wasn't a match-winning performance, and he has to have support of his teammates. And I just think, I think you'd be worried perhaps of an over-reliance on Sancho to bail them out of trouble. And also as well that another thing today I think was important was the fact that Julian Brandt started the game, and I think much deserved after his two performances off the bench in the first two games. But at the same time, I think that they missed having someone who could come off the bench and make an immediate impact and get them playing a different way, give the opposition a different sort of headache to worry about. And we saw Larson came on, De Hood came on, and neither really improved the side or changed things. It was very much kind of just they seemed to run out of ideas in the second half, and it was a underwhelming performance. But we really have to give a lot of credit, to Union, who played their hearts out, and the crowd was with them, and they rode that wave, and again they sort of put Dortmund under pressure by presenting them with defensive chores that perhaps not their forte. We know about their set piece issues, and I think their deliveries were on point, and Dortmund couldn't clear their lines for the third goal, and that led to to them kind of losing their to losing their way in the game and not being able to claw it back from that. But for Union's sake, it was a good performance and historic really to get a win of that magnitude in the Bundesliga, the first this season, and again a real scalp, to beat Dortmund, going for the title. it's a huge game, and it really could define their season. This could be the beginning of them. We saw them not struggling really, but they were kind of undone by a classy Leipzig team who I think will be, fitting they can challenge Dortmund for second or even for first this season after the way they've played so far. But again, all credit must go to Union, as much as there were mistakes from Dortmund today with Akanji and Hummels, playing under par again, I think, from them. Credit to Union. They presented Dortmund with tough tasks to deal with. They had a game plan and they executed it brilliantly, and I think that's all you can ask for Union. And fully deserved of their 3 points, and they'll go away now, and I think they'll look to build on that, and it really could be the platform for the rest of their season. And for Dortmund, they have to go away and they have to look at what went wrong. They have to look at how they were kind of undone by what was a good game plan and how they respond to kind of being in that kind of adversity. We saw it against Augsburg. We saw it against Köln. The way they responded was brilliant. But today, the impact off the bench wasn't enough, and they have to kind of find a way, really, of getting that first goal and getting the second and third and killing teams off, without having to do the comeback every week, which has been the case for 3 weeks in a row now. And for Berlin, they exposed Dortmund's weaknesses still, and it shows Dortmund probably have got a bit of a way to go, really, if we're being honest. Bayern put the pressure on today, and all of a sudden now the momentum shifts, and now they'll be looking as big favourites to retain their title. And so, it could be a pretty defining result today. But I think, it's all about Union today, and they performed brilliantly, and roll on next weekend, and I'll catch up with you then.